We're here today to talk about real estate.
Hello and welcome to episode 21 of the Real Estate Unlimited podcast. My name is Sierra Steinmetz.
Brian Schubie.
Carrie Steele.
Bill Jones.
And we're the Jones Home Team.
And like Sierra said, this is episode 21. It is Valentine's week. So we kind of let the ladies run with this one a little bit here as far as what we're coming up with. But I do have a couple fantastic stories to share at the end. So romantic indeed, I'm sure, hopefully. The one is anyways, I'll give you that much. So Carrie, let's roll right into it here. What do we got?
So first we have Marry the House, Date the Rate, Why Love at First Sight Matters in Real Estate. Home Sweet Home, Creating a Space to Fall in Love with. Your Place or Mine, talking about relationships, whose house you should keep and why. And then Show and Tell. And then we'll get into some funny stories then. So.
All right. So Marry the House or Date the Rate here. Let's jump off of that then.
Yeah.
So yeah, rates still are terrible.
They are.
We can start with that. So.
But I think people, they have to understand that, again, it's going to be what's best for them, and their timing in the market is inevitable if you have to move. If you have to move for work, if you have to move for family, if life changed, that's where you say find the house that you love, marry that house, and figure out the rate later, because you can always buy down your points. You can make more payments towards your interest so that it goes down faster.
Refinance later on down the road, you know, when rates do come down, hopefully.
Yep, refinance. Another thing is consider like a 15-year or put more money down on a house. So buy less house and put more of your cash down so you can get a better interest rate.
All right. And I guess talking about the kind of sideline to that, then marry, I guess that used to be a traditional thing, or maybe still is in a lot of markets, and people buy a house once they're married. It seems like more often than not, though, that wasn't my case. We had a house long before we were married. So I don't know. I'm not sure. I see that a lot. I mean, how many people have been married with no house then?
I mean,
Sarah, you're working on that, right?
Wait,
Me?
what?
I think it's more common now for people to not, to buy their own house or even for to be married and rent because life happens. And I think a lot more people are just waiting to kind of see where their life goes, as before, 20, 30 years ago. I think the thing was to get married and buy a house. That was like part of the package deal.
Right.
Graduate college or get your good job and then find the Mr. or the Mrs. and settle down in your forever home. But now I feel like, people are either doing it just for investment. So maybe they're not as infatuated with the house as, like, say, our generation, our parents' generation. But yeah, I think now it's just becoming more common that people are either renting or they're having their own house, like girl boss. Heck yeah.
Sure. And that's great for us real estate agents then, because then they have two houses. They only need one then a lot of times. So it gives us something to sell for them.
Well, then let's talk about that then. So Your Place or Mine. So we talked about this a little bit before this started, but what has been your guys' story, either with yourself or your family, your friends, couples that you know? They each have a house or they're renting a place. What are they likely to get a house together, move into one of their houses, rent together? What do you think, and what have you seen?
Don't look at me. I haven't had this situation.
I mean, it sounds like you might have that situation
Might be
on a personal level. Like, do you have any personal stories or experiences?
I got one, but Kelly's going to kill me, I'm sure then. So my wife of a lot of years here at this point, too, we've known each other for a long time before we even started dating. So I lived in a not so great house. It was a duplex. It was my house hack. I'm 18, 19, buy this house. And turns out Kelly ends up becoming my tenant upstairs. So then she falls behind on her rent. And, no, I'm just kidding. But, I think we got a little more serious then at that point then too. Then we ended up with this house that, neither of us really wanted at that point. We kind of jokingly talked about before we went on the air. Anytime somebody has a house and they start getting serious with somebody else, there's always that I don't know about stigma is the right word, but you have this house that you bought with somebody else, or, you dated somebody else while you own this house. So that kind of makes, not for quite so romantic topic, but, it's like gets into a real world thing. We knew that wasn't our forever house. But then too, I mean, there was a lot of stuff that needed done with it, and you had bought the house with somebody else. So what do you do with that? So it's got to go. Get it out of here.
I don't care who
Get it
you
sold.
are. I mean, you can be jealous or not jealous, but I think if you're dating somebody or you're with somebody, a partner, husband, spouse, whatever, and they've lived in that house and made that a life with somebody else, I don't feel like being the other person that you could ever really truly settle in the way that you wanted to unless you got your own place. And that's not a real estate standpoint. I don't know what you guys think, but I don't know. I just feel like, yeah, like we talked about it before, like, oh, she picked that color, didn't she? Or, you know, you guys built that deck together. I just hear about that stupid story about how you guys lovingly built that deck together. And now that deck is not our deck. That's your guys' deck.
Right.
You know? And maybe I'm thinking too much into it, but hey, that's what we're real estate agents. We'll get you another house.
Yeah, I was gonna say I would feel the same way. I would like have little reminders every now and then, be like, oh, this wasn't mine first.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And I still feel like even if it were like a badass lake house, it's still like, okay, yeah, that's really great, but it's still not ours. It was your guys's.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
See,
know.
I guess I don't get so. I mean, I'm just a dumb guy. That doesn't bother me.
I know,
so
and
much.
I feel like that's the difference between
we
guys
don't
and
hold
girls.
the attachment or like the think about it that way.
Right.
But I feel like it is different too when you're moving into that scenario. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it was your partner, whoever, and their ex person, and then you're entering situation, and it's like, oh,
That's where I think
I
you
don't know.
just sell it and move on.
Yeah.
Start fresh.
I will say I had stayed in a duplex down the road from here. One of the landlords actually happens to be sitting at this table when me and Lil.
Oh, that same unit. Yes, I forgot. Lil was.
The landlord
also,
was not that great.
No
So
way.
you had the best. She had the best landlord ever to walk the face of the earth. I kind of forgot.
How did I
forgot
just
about
hear
that.
about this?
I
Yeah.
forgot all about that. Actually, now that you say that, so
that's awesome.
so
that
that
how you
house is responsible for 2 marriages, then at least that I'm aware of. Then so I forgot all
Sounds
about
like
that.
Cece's looking for a new location.
in the
No, I'm just kidding.
in the upstairs unit. So
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Upstairs unit.
Noted. Let me write that down.
See, and that house, that was a big party house for me. I just loved having fun there. It was, kind of the after hours house then. But yeah, there was a lot of people. Kelly was my best tenant upstairs for sure. I mean, she paid on time. Lil paid on time then too. So yeah, she did good with that. I don't think I introduced you guys. We'll just say I did.
Yeah, for the sake
I just made it
of
happen.
you.
For the sake of episode 21, that's how it went down then. So then I kind of kicked myself then too. So from the financial side, I almost wish we would have kept it as a just rental property,
Right.
you know, an up and down duplex. It was kind of a big old pig of a house, which I don't like that for rentals because everything just costs more. But yeah, now I probably would have had a paid off duplex that would have been fantastic. But still, I had to hear about it all the time, so it's gone.
Yeah, and it
Sold.
got you where you are now, too.
Right,
So
right.
that's the other thing. Like, you know, when you think about whose house should you keep, because we talked a little bit about that. Like, husband has a house, wife has a house, you know, they're coming, or boyfriend, girlfriend has a house, they're coming together at husband and wife, but they both have equity and they both have, you know, good bones, and both of them would survive well in any market. So his place or mine, or your place or mine, how do you decipher which one? And I think that's where I don't necessarily know that either one of them would feel inclined to say, oh, that's your place, or I can't feel like I can make myself at home because that was yours or mine,
Sure.
regardless if there was an ex involved. So then it's just like, okay, what's going to make the most sense for you guys? Is it closer to your job? Is it closer to her job? You know, are you close to family for childcare and things like that? So at the end of the day, every situation is going to be different and unique. But yeah.
and who knows? Maybe one of them was bought at a 3% interest rate, and one of
Right.
them was bought at a 7% interest rate.
That's
so
right.
it just depends. You got to look at all aspects, kind of what you're saying.
That's a great point.
Financing and everything.
Yeah.
Yep. And I guess how the house would work. See, I'd rather everybody just sell both those houses and buy one together then.
Yeah.
So us wearing a real estate hat here is to sell as many as you can. So
But yeah, I guess too, it depends on what your future plans are. I mean, if
Right.
you want to have
Yeah.
a whole little baseball team of kiddos and one house is much larger than the other, it might be a better investment to keep one over the other one.
sure.
Or if you're looking for a ranch, and one of them's a ranch and one of them's a 2-story.
Yeah.
So
For sure.
And I've seen that. Actually, we've recently had that twice in our office where buyers are buying a house. We're on both sides of it, list side and buy side, where they ended up pregnant and needed a bigger house then. So there's 2 deals that did fall apart
Yeah.
simply because of that then
I've had
too.
those too.
I don't think I've seen that written as a contingency. Hey, if we're having a kid, I went out of this deal then. But, they did get out of them both then. So
I kind of wish there was, because that's something in life where like you don't plan for it, but if you
that literally
you're
just
shopping
happened
for a 2-bedroom,
to
and
me-
I had
to my
it too
buyers.
last August.
Yeah.
Like if you have that, actually 3 times. It's been 3 times total since I started as an agent where children have changed. And like the one person had like ended up having to buy it because we were just a couple weeks out, had to buy it and then turn around and sell it within
Right.
because it was way too small, and it was just, you know, it was just him, and all of a sudden he's got a whole family. So
All right. Well, so what the date, the rate thing, did we finish up on that?
Yeah.
Then we kind of jumped right into that then. But yeah, rates are still terrible. They're not terrible. They are what they are. You know,
Meh.
if life needs to happen and yeah, you fell in love, need a house to, you know, make home, or kids or no kids, yeah, make that happen then. And like Brian said, you can refinance later, I think. And your place or mine, I don't know. That's there's no like everything is all situational. And what's your relationship look like? So, what else do we have here?
show and tell.
Show and tell. All right.
I would love more of the viewers, Bill, while you're working on that. I would love more of the viewers to, you know, comment, share their experiences. If there's something that we're talking about that hits home for you as a listener, you know, feel free to interact with us and share your stories.
Carrie, you had one here, like a before and after, right?
Yeah.
If
So
you're
that,
watching.
yeah. And I tried to find a really good picture, but this is the only thing I could come
So
up with.
2015.
Yeah, 2015, that's the before, and then that's the after.
That's
so
way better.
you don't have to necessarily love the space initially. You know, it changed significantly, I think, with lighting and carpet and paint, and it's not done. I mean, that's as done for the picture as we can get it. But,
Sure.
you know, the idea is you can make anything
better,
your
though.
own, you know? You don't have to you walk in and see something and say, wow, that's not for me. And it doesn't have to take, you know, the what is that? TikTok and Pinterest and all those things. It's like, live real. You know, you don't have to like look at a picture and be like, oh, my house sucks because it doesn't look like this magazine. No, make it yours, make it livable, make it like your style and how you would want it to be. So.
Yeah, and those people drive me nuts. Those shows are cool, or the episodes are neat, but it's still like you don't have to go spend 3 months redoing.
No,
you know,
or tens of thousands of dollars.
Right.
I mean, we got some paint, we got some carpet. We left the original shades up because they're like $200 a piece at Lowe's. I'm like, I don't necessarily like that color, but that color works, so we'll just get bedding to match, and that's what we did. And actually, the quilt that's on that bed, just side note, I don't know if we can zoom in. My great grandmother stitched that quilt for our wedding, and that was a wedding gift. And it
Really?
has the
Aw.
color of the blinds, so that's why
Yeah.
we left the color the way that we did.
Cute. I don't have anything quite that interesting. We just,
And I think
I just
if,
happened to see it.
if
was in
anyone's
there.
looking for someone who knows how to lay carpet, Carrie and Bobby know how to do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
we're
because
actually
that was fun.
professionals now.
We're still
you
married.
guys actually did that?
We
The
did.
carpet? Oh my lord.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like a nightmare.
That was great.
It was great.
The best part was that I pulled all the carpet tacking strips all the way around the whole room up with a crowbar because I thought we were going to put that dark flooring throughout the whole thing, and then it was discontinued. It was a hardwood bamboo, and we
Oh, my
absolutely loved
Lord.
it. Discontinued at Home Depot, so we're like, shit, now what do we do? And we're trying to find something that was comparable, and we couldn't find it. So
Yeah.
then I had to go back and retack all those carpet strips down. I'm
No.
like, it took me so long to get every piece of shard or trim up from that stupid carpet.
I'm surprised
tack.
because I always
Whatever.
butcher those things when I've ripped them
I
up.
did,
then. Yeah,
and I
yeah.
poked myself so many
Yeah, that
times.
stuff
and, like,
sharp is
would have been
terrible.
great to just leave them alone. Anyway,
Well, I don't have any picture. I guess I don't know what. Well, shoot, you guys are working on building your house. Then
I put
see how that
the
thing does.
blueprints.
Oh,
on
yeah,
there.
he did. Let's see that.
There we go.
That's sexy.
Yeah, what are you gonna love about it here?
When it's done.
Hopefully everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's done. No, we custom designed the whole thing ourselves and drew the blueprints and everything ourselves and just gave it to the architect to put together then. So hopefully everything.
Yeah,
What are
that'll
you
be
most
awesome.
What are you most excited about seeing from the drawing or from your renditions to actually come into fruition? What are you most excited about?
Mine is probably like the great room area, like the kitchen, dining, living. We're going to have a huge 5-foot window over the sink that opens up underneath to the back patio then. So
Like one of those rolling
Uh,
like B-dub stores?
kind
or?
of, but it'll be, I think it's just, we're back and forth, so you can do like, I don't know, like a accordion style
Yeah.
or one that just lifts up and it's got like it's like a gas powered one kind
That's
of
awesome.
thing. So
Oh my god, that's the most brilliant idea I've ever heard in my life. Where did
Yeah.
you get that idea?
HGTV.
You liar! That was my idea.
That was my idea, he says.
And then pond out back, so it's just gonna be. We kind
Yeah.
of designed everything around the back patio type thing. So
Holy moly! Well, hey, we're live, I guess, right? So it happens. I can't wait to see it then. So where's my room at? I don't know where.
Bill actually is not allowed at all.
Oh.
No trespassing with a picture of Bill.
Because I didn't see that labeled as mine. Now we'll just have to come inspect it after you get it done then. But yeah, that is going to be awesome. The roll up to the outside, and you guys are doing a pond yet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
Has the building process made you fall more in love with Lil, or have you guys been at each other's throat over some things? Since this is the Valentine's Day episode.
I mean, it hasn't been too bad, but with the wedding and everything in between there, she kind of handled that, and I kind of handled the build side. So we kind of each just took our jobs and just kind of been back and forth. So
Well done, sir.
Well, you're in the beginning parts of that. We've talked about this 100 times. It's just after a while, the decisions just are monumental here.
Yep.
They just are nonstop, it seems like. So you'll have a lot of fun with that yet. So I got to the point I was just like, I don't know, just get it done. I don't care. Just finish it. I've made 4,000 decisions. Kelly's going to hate half of them. So it is what it is. Kind of on a serious note, we found a cool site. We'll link this up here too, as far as talks about, I guess, doing that love it or list it time of, I guess, idea. If you're going to keep it, doing renovations, like we get this all the time, you know, what's going to make my house more valuable, or what's going to make it, where am I going to get my best return on investment? And this site was pretty cool. We picked it to our area here, went like 5 states wide. Seems like garage door replacement's the number one on their list, and the primary suite addition was the least return on your investment. So that was only less than 24%. All the way up to this one, you got almost a 200% gain on the garage door replacement. But
It's
they went
wild.
pretty deep into, we just did a deck, so obviously I apparently lost money on that already. So that's not a great thing. But again, one of those to where maybe it's not a great investment, but we're not doing it as an investment. We're doing it as we want to love our home and be there. Because up until we did that, we had that slider door till you fell to your death. You know what I mean? It was like a 15-foot drop. There was nothing there. So
I really messed up on that lawsuit.
Yeah, you missed out there. So, was it an investment? No, but, we're making it to where we can love our house. We can go out back and enjoy the entire backyard and roll right into the backyard. So
I'm surprised that siding replacement isn't higher on the list. Down to, because when you think about houses that have been redone, especially if it has like old wood siding or asbestos or something, you drive by those neighborhoods where they just do new siding and wrap the windows. It's like, oh my God, that's a completely different house.
Oh yeah, they look completely different.
But return on investment.
I mean, it's still fairly decent. Well, we tell a lot of people stuff like this. Should I do this? Should I do that? Well, if you're going to be there for a few, like these kitchen ones always kill me, kitchens and bathrooms. Again, you watch HGTV, the flip shows, there was a gutted piece of crap house that they made. So, they're getting a return on investment there. But if you already have a decent house or functional kitchen, putting $50,000 into a kitchen isn't necessarily going to return you $50,000. You're probably going to lose money. But if you're there for another 2, 3, 5, 10 years and you get some enjoyment or some value out of it, then maybe you still get that 50% bump out of it then. But you got the chance to use the kitchen for 5 years. Maybe that was worth it then, but I wouldn't do it. If you ever have a functional home, start gutting it. I don't know if that's really worth the improvements then.
Yeah, especially if you have like solid cherry or solid oak cabinets and you rip them out and put those white, not cheap, but cookie cutter.
The white cabinets.
Yeah, white cookie cutter cabinets. You might have just cost yourself some money there.
And that's where, and then if you're selling your home in 5 years, maybe the solid oak comes back,
right?
Or maybe you just paint it versus
the preference.
ripping everything out then. So there's a lot you can do with that. Sierra, what do you got? You guys have done paint. Paint goes a long way.
Drywall.
Drywall,
of cracking plaster that was there.
I think that's big.
Yeah, I mean, like the wall was literally like falling off of itself. So
that was a need to, not a want kind of thing. Yeah.
And rip out the carpet everywhere and replace that. Stuff like that. A little bit of a teeny tiny bathroom remodel and a teeny tiny kitchen remodel. Nothing too crazy though.
But again, you made it functional. It wasn't a fully operational. It wasn't quite to where you needed it to be.
Right.
So you're redoing it to make it nice for your current use then. So you're going to get some value upside hopefully later then too. So and again, I think a lot of these are market specific too. If you're in California, or certain markets where pricing is huge. If it costs you $50,000 to do a kitchen here, probably costs you $50 or $55 to do it in some hot market somewhere. But your return on value here versus there is totally different then. So I know that, not Chip and Joanna, what was the other one? I forget his name. They'd flip houses all the time. Then they're California, but the same thing. They would he would project it all out, and it was insane the amount of return they would get on those things then. So. Not Clark. What was his name? He was dating from the show we were watching then too. A real estate show.
The Selling
with
Sunset.
Yes, Selling Sunset. She was dating the one guy. Flips out. She's married to him now.
Who? Tark?
Yes, Tark.
And
Tark.
Heather?
Yes, and then Tark was married to.
Almusa?
Yes, I can't remember what her name was.
I don't
Christina.
remember.
Is that what it was?
think
Yeah,
so.
I tell you. But yeah, they flipped all kind of stuff. I enjoyed that. But
And then if you get multiple offers, I mean, like you said, in one market it might not do well, but if you get the dream kitchen, then there's 3 chefs all fighting over that house, and you're in a
Yep.
multiple offer situation in a different market, then you never know. It could, really boost your return on investment. But
right.
I think around here, paint, upkeep, general maintenance, I think those things go a long way
Makes
on
a
any
huge
home.
difference, right.
Clean, cleanliness, it's smelling good, those kinds of things.
Yep, some of those houses we just listed, that's what we tell people that too. Less is more. Just get the stuff out of there, clean it up. You can never be clean enough. So you look at it from the perspective of I'm a buyer walking in for the first time. So yeah, that Tark, they would list homes. I can't get over this now. For $500,000, listed at $500,000, they'd get an offer at $500,000, then they'd counter them back at $550,000.
That's
like
wild.
I can't even imagine a market like that to where
you could
you're
do
like,
that.
oh, we just threw it out there and we planned on selling it for more.
Yeah, that's
But-
insane.
Yeah, not our little Northwest Ohio, that's for sure. So, all right, Kara, we got anything else to cover through here? I got a couple stories here I wanted to talk about or share.
I mean, we've talked it
We got them
pretty
done
much.
here.
Yeah, I mean, we
All
could
right.
talk about curb appeal and seller's market and all that stuff as much as we want, but I think we've pretty much
Okay.
nailed it down.
Okay, romantic story I got. How can I prove there isn't a body buried on my property?
Oh my God. For Valentine's Day.
For
Here we go.
Here's story number 1. So, buyer will cancel if I don't prove there isn't a body buried on my property within 2 days.
That's not a lot.
How do you what? How do you do that?
I don't know. So, so poor fellow's here. He's under contract to sell his house in Florida. Property has a small concrete pad with a small bench and a small angel figurine that was installed by the previous owner. So it wasn't this guy. He referred to it as the shrine. His agent called today, said the buyer's considering canceling the contract because his mother is convinced the shrine is actually a headstone for a corpse buried on the property. She's now convinced there's, mind you, I asked ChatGPT for a good romantic story, and this is the first thing.
No way.
I promise you, this is what
Oh
it
my
came up
gosh.
with.
Chat, come on now.
So it did bad, but I thought it was kind of funny here. It ends well.
Sure.
So agents contacting the previous owner. He bought the house 2.5 years ago. The inspection period ends in 2 days, so that's effectively the deadline to save this deal. He really needs it to go through because he's getting divorced. So he's 5 states away. So have you ever heard of a story like that?
No.
They were in love so much that he buried her on the property, maybe. Is that what?
I mean,
So
maybe.
there's more to the story here. So then the edit then. Florida contracts allows a buyer to cancel for any reason during the inspection period, which they're still in. They're 100% within their rights to walk, keep their earnest money. Again, he's saying he's not an attorney. That's not legal advice. Neither are we. This house has been on the market for 6 months, and it's the only offer he's got. So what do you do?
Go out there and dig a hole, I guess.
Are you allowed to do
Yes.
that? I don't know. I don't know what you can do or not do with that.
I guess get the buyer's permission and say, I'll go dig up a hole for you, I
I was
guess.
going to say,
and-
inspectors, are you listening? Is that something that...
I don't know.
Is that part of an
That's
inspection?
Truly a question. I mean, I don't think they're going to disturb that. I really would like to know that. So we'll have to research that a little more. But there's a happy ending. So prior owners confirmed the shrine was built as a holder for the grandmother's urn, which he obviously took with him when he moved out. So while there is no human remains on the property, the shrine was connected to a dead relative in some way. The buyers are cool with it, and they are not canceling. So
Good.
happy
That was a
ending to
stressful
this.
2 days for everyone.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine being the agent on that other end?
Imagine having to make that phone call and be like, they want
Yeah.
to back out because there might be a graveyard in your little garden bed.
Oh, that's yeah. I don't know what you do with that.
How do you get out of that? How do you talk yourself or walk yourself out of that? Still represent your seller, but still try to get it sold?
Right. Because we've talked about, like, Halloween time, we talked about that then, too.
Yeah.
With, has somebody ever died here or whatever? If the
Yeah.
house is old enough, I'm sure probably. And I'm sure way back they probably used to bury people
Wherever.
wherever.
Yeah, we
I
talked
don't
about
know.
that too. Like, oh, if you bury somebody on a property now, that property can't be taxed or sold. I don't know. There's all the
there's
little
something with that?
loopholes. Yeah. So people would be burying their loved one
my
on
Lord,
the yard,
yeah.
but that's illegal, right? It's a what is it?
I think you have to
I'm
get
sure-
some
Abuse
kind
of a
of permission
corpse.
of some nature
Yeah.
to do anything. So
I don't know. But somebody loved somebody so much that they made a shrine on the
Well,
property.
Bobby
and-
better take me with him if he goes anywhere.
So that was a ChatGPT error, but I loved it, so we had to put that on there. So I'm hoping this guy closed, moved on with life, everything's good. So I did find a good one here then. Sarah, you'll love this here. Reminded me of you. The house that love built. In 2001, Sarah and James were a young couple just starting out. They fell in love with this quaint, slightly rundown Victorian home in a quiet neighborhood. While it wasn't much to look at initially, the home's charm and potential stole their hearts. They could see the memories they would create there. Family dinners, holiday mornings, and lazy Sundays in the sunset living room. The couple scraped together every penny they had for a down payment. They spent their weekends and evenings fixing it up together. It wasn't glamorous. They painted walls, patched ceilings, and learned how to install cabinets by watching YouTube videos. James jokingly referred to it as their sweet equity honeymoon. One snowy Valentine's Day, after months of hard work, James surprised Sarah in their newly renovated kitchen. He handed her a photo album filled with pictures of the house from when they had first bought it and in every stage of renovation. On the last page, he had written, "For all the life we've already lived here and all the life to come, will you marry me again?" Sarah, teary-eyed and laughed, said yes, and they celebrated with a bottle of wine and takeout on the floor of their cozy dining room, the same way they had on their first night in the house. Now, more than 20 years later, Sarah and James still live in that house with their 3 kids. They say their love story is woven into its walls, and they couldn't imagine calling it anywhere else but home.
Aw.
Oh, see,
I
there
love
you go.
that.
Right? So ChatGPT failed and then came in with a clutch save here in the end with a good actual story. It did.
Sarah
I
and
read that and I'm
James.
like, oh my gosh, that sounds like so many people I
Skipping
know. So
Chipotle on the floor.
Sounds
That's
like
right.
Cece.
Yeah.
right, yeah, for sure. So, what else we have to cover here? I love that. That was fun. It's different.
I mean, I don't know. There's a lot
Good.
of topics that could cover, but I think that's a wrap.
Okay. Well, on that note, we will wrap it up. That's episode 21. We'll get back to it with episode 22 next week. I don't know, did we come up with any topics yet for that one there? Give them something to look forward to.
I have an idea about
What do you
some
got?
interior design stuff
Ooh, I like
to
it.
throw out there.
Happy Valentine's week. Check back to episode 22, and we'll have more to come. Talk to you then.